I am so excited to finally be trying Melt Cosmetics. How could I not though when they collaborated with Bailey Sarian? This palette is gorgeous, but if you want to see the look I created or hear my thoughts, then just keep watching. If this is your first time here, hi, my name is Heather Eaglin. I love all things makeup, especially colorful makeup and indie brands. If you love those things too, I really hope you will subscribe and click the little bell so you can be notified of all my future uploads. And if you guys like the video, please give it a thumbs up on your way out. I would really appreciate it. Unfortunately, one of my shades broke in the palette after I swatched it. At least it waited until after. It was the first shade, Arsenic. I purchased the bundle that came with the palette, 2 cream gel liners and 2 glitter eye gels, and that retails for $99. Everything's still available as a single item, and the palette retails for $58. I will have it all linked down below in the description box. For this look, I wanted to do a really smoky eye, so I'm using a BH Cosmetics shading brush, and I picked up the shade Sarian, and I'm just placing that all along the lid. It's been a really long time since I've done an all matte look, and it ends up not being all matte at the end because I use one of the glitter eye gels, but I feel like it's harder to do an all matte look, and I'm like way out of practice, but I still managed to get it done. But my only beef with this palette is the purple that I'm using right now. After I get the other shades on the eye, it just all looks black. And the greens, even though they look different in the pan, they all end up looking like they're dark brown on the lid. I haven't used the teal or the turquoise yet, so I don't know what those will look like. But as for the colors that I stuck with for this eye look, I don't feel like you could really tell that I used different shades. It all just looked the same, and I don't know if that's typical for Melt Cosmetics. In the pan, some of these shades look light, but they're all very, very dark and very, very pigmented on the lid. However, they were really easy for me to blend. The matte formula is a really nice one, and I enjoyed working with it. I just don't feel like the shades that are in the palette are not true to color. They look different once you put them on the eye. Now I'm just using a medium blending brush. This one is from Glamlight, and I'm just blending out that purple shade and just trying to get the blend smooth before I go back in and deepen it back up. My lip combo that I'm wearing is the liner is Carnage from Unearthly Cosmetics, and the gloss I have over top is the Spaz gloss. It came in the large summer mystery box, which is still available. If I remember, I will link that down below as well. But I end up switching out the lip color. I felt like it really clashed with this eye look, and I switched it to the lip liner from Unearthly Cosmetics in the shade Cafe and the Rimmel London lipstick in the shade 46. I'm just going back and forth with that same shade, but with both of the brushes, and I'm deepening up that purple shade and just blending it out as I go. And I'm just laying down the color in the direction that I want my eye shape to be. Using a large shading brush, this one is from that same Glamlight collection. I'm going into the shade Phosgene. It's the one right beside the purple. I love this shade in the pan, but as you can tell on the eye, it looks brown. It makes no sense to me because it looked brown even before I tried to blend it with that purple shade. And I used it on the lower lash line by itself later on in the look, and it looked brown on the lower lash line too. So I don't think it's because of the color I put with it. I think it's just the way that it looks on the eye. I end up really loving the look at the end. It's just not what I thought it was going to be. I also watched Angelica Nikovic's video on this palette before I got it, and she told everyone to make sure you set your eye primer, which is something that I never do. She said to set it, if not, they'll be really hard to blend. So I took her advice and I set the eye primer. and I had no issues with blending whatsoever. Now using a large blending brush, this one's from Glamlight, the Scooby-Doo collection. I'm going into the shade Arsenic, and I'm just going to use that in the inner corner to lighten it up some and use it to blend out the edges of the crease. If any of you guys are familiar with the Melt Cosmetics formula, let me know down below if the issue I'm having with the shades all looking different on the eye is something you can expect from the brand. Like, are most of their palettes that way? I'm just curious. And like I said, I still need to create more looks with it. So maybe it'll be different that time. It could have been something I did. I don't know. I'm just over here trying to figure it out as I go. But now I'm going back in with that large Glamlight shading brush and going back into the shade Sarian, and I'm just pressing that and blending it and just trying to deepen it up some. I really do love the look at the end. I'm curious too, who all picked up this collection? Or better yet, anything from this collection. Using that same blending brush, I'm going back into the shade Phosgene, and I'm just going to use that to blend out that purple a little bit more. I'm kind of just going back and forth in between these three shades. You really have to do that with a smoky eye. Using my Singe Beauty EO4, I'm going back into that same shade, and I'm just sweeping that on the lower lash line, and you can see it's still like a golden brown, which is still a really beautiful shade. I'm just a more colorful girl at heart and was expecting more color, if that makes sense. I've just cleaned that brush off on my Sigma switch, and I'm going back into the shade Arsenic, and I'm just using that on the inner corner of my lower lash line and of my lid. Now using a really small smudging brush, I'm picking up more of that shade Sarian, and I'm just going to press that along my lower lash line to try to smoke that out as well. And as you can see, I removed my lip color that I had on. Going back in with my Singe Beauty EO4, I'm just using that shade Arsenic to blend out that deeper color on the lower lash line. I'm not someone who uses a lot of glitters on the eye, but I will say I really liked this formula a lot more than I thought I was going to. I thought it was pretty cool. I'm going in with the shade Boom Slang, and I'm just using my finger to place that all over the lid. I didn't have any issues with fallout or anything like that from it. It really held in place very well, and I layered it up. It was easy for it to dry down, and then I just added a little more on it. For a little inner corner highlight, I'm using my BLENDBUNNY Cosmetics Noctilucent palette. I'm going in with the yellow shade and Lighten, and I'm just placing that in the inner corner, and I'm kind of blending it in up on the lid a little as well. I also used the same shade for my face highlight, and I took a little on the inner portion of my lower lash line. And this is the finished look before lashes and liner. And I usually do 2 looks with every palette, but I wanted to get this up as soon as I could, so I just did one. I'll include it in another video. For blush, I used my Lunar Beauty and LAURALEE blush palette, the Full Fantasy blush palette. It'll be linked down below with everything else. And I also used the black cream gel liner that came in this collection. Let me know down below if you guys plan on picking anything up from this. And if you already did, what are your thoughts on it? Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so yet, I hope you will subscribe. And I'm also going to post a link here for my giveaway video in case you haven't entered. Thank you guys for everything, and until next time, bye.